Nobility's eccentric pursuits, the elite's unique hobbies. Hello my dear friends. Imagine you're in ancient Egypt, surrounded by the bustling streets of the Bings, where sunlight glimmers off the golden sands. The air is thick with the scent of exotic spices and sweet perfumes, a heady concoction that whispers of wealth and nobility. You can almost hear the laughter of the elite as they indulge in their eccentric hobbies, activities that may seem bizarre by modern standards, yet were the embodiment of power and prestige. You probably once survived this revelation, but the lavish lives of these ancient nobles were often built on peculiar passions that held deep cultural significance. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Imagine yourself in one of those grand palaces, adorned with hieroglyphs, where the elite engage in pastimes that reflect their status. As you ease into this world, consider the paradox of nobility. The glamorous illusion of their lives often masks a shocking reality. Wealthy Egyptians, while enjoying a fade of elegance, were deeply entrenched in practices that raise eyebrows today. Their hobbies ranged from the refined to the downright strange, painting a vivid picture of a society that embraced both beauty and the grotesque. Let's take a closer look at these pursuits as we peel back the layers of history. The fascination with unique pastimes among ancient Egyptian nobles was not just about leisure. It was a demonstration of their societal position. In a world where status was everything, these unusual hobbies served as essential markers of identity. While the pharaohs and their courtiers engaged in grand ceremonies and monumental projects, they also cultivated peculiar interests that defined their circles. Falconry, for example, was not merely a sport, it was a display of power, skill, and the intimate relationship between man and nature. Yet, behind the elegance of a falcon soaring high above the Nile lies a darker truth about the discipline required to train such formidable creatures. You see, the glamorous image of the falcon as a noble companion is contrasted sharply by the brutal realities faced by these birds during training. The process was rigorous, sometimes involving harsh methods to ensure obedience. The biting winds of the desert, laced with desperation and determination, were part of the noble pursuit of mastery over nature. The nobility's obsession with this sport reflects a belief in their superiority, both over the natural world and, symbolically, over the common populace. As you ponder this, consider the underlying reasons for such pursuits. The ancient Egyptians held a worldview where power and control were paramount. Their social structure was rigid, with the elite at the top, governing and often oppressing the masses. Hobbies such as falconry weren't just about personal enjoyment. They were a way to reinforce their status, to bask in the glory of their dominion over the environment and the people around them. To engage in such activities was to declare one's place in this hierarchy, one where leisure was reserved for the privileged few. But this is just the beginning. As we explore further into the lives of these nobles, you'll discover a tapestry woven with threads of beauty, power, and the unsettling truths that underpin their extravagant choices. The next section will dive deeper into the world of falconry, unraveling the elegance and brutality of this noble pastime, illustrating how it shaped relationships and attitudes toward nature and each other. The glamour of falconry, hunting with grace. You find yourself standing in the sun-drenched fields of ancient Egypt, where the air crackles with anticipation. Nobles clad in flowing linen robes gather, their eyes trained on the skies, waiting for the moment their prized falcons take flight. The art of falconry is not merely a sport. It's a mesmerizing dance of power and grace. As the birds soar high above, their keen eyes scanning the landscape for prey, there's a sense of awe that envelops the scene. Yet, beneath this glamorous surface lies a stark contrast to the elegance displayed before you, a hidden reality that reveals the darker side of this elite pastime. The beauty of the hunt is enthralling. You can picture the majesty of a falcon diving from the heavens, its sharp talons poised for the kill. This image captures the nobility's deep connection with nature, where the act of hunting becomes a symbol of their control over the wilderness. However, the training process required to prepare these birds for such feats is anything but gentle. The harsh methods employed to ensure a falcon's obedience often involve intimidation and deprivation, contrasting sharply with the serene image of noble hunters in tranquil surroundings. As the nobleman stands tall, wearing the insignia of his rank, he embodies the ideal of the falconer, a man who commands the skies through his trained companion. But this relationship is forged through rigorous, sometimes cruel training methods. Young falcons are subjected to a grueling regime, where they are starved to increase their hunting instincts and forced into submission. You might wince at the thought of these magnificent creatures, divested of their freedom, existing under the thumb of their powerful human counterparts. It raises a question. How could such brutality coexist with the delicate beauty of the hunt? The ancient Egyptians believed that mastering falconry was a mark of sophistication, embodying the ideals of skill, patience and control. This worldview, steeped in the backdrop of a society that prized dominance, made the harsh realities of falcon training palatable. The nobility's obsession with falconry reflected their desire for supremacy not just over the birds themselves, but over the very landscape that surrounded them. It was a pursuit that reinforced their elevated status, a declaration that they could tame even the wildest of creatures. As you reflect on this dynamic, the echoes of the past resonate within you. The falcon, a revered symbol of the sun god Horus, played a dual role, a representation of divine connection and a tool for asserting superiority. The glory of the hunt enveloped the nobles in a shroud of respect and admiration, silencing the whispers of the cruelty involved in training these majestic birds. It's a striking contradiction, one that mirrors much of the nobility's existence, to present an image of grace while often engaging in practices that starkly oppose it. But falconry wasn't the only pursuit that the elite engaged in. As we explore further, we'll transition into the aromatic world of perfume making, where the exquisite scents mask a troubling truth about the ingredients used. The next section will unveil the intoxicating allure of fragrances that filled ancient Egyptian palaces, juxtaposed against the shocking realities that lie beneath the surface of such olfactory luxury. The art of perfume making. A fragrant obsession. Picture yourself stepping into an ancient Egyptian perfumery, where the air is thick with the intoxicating aroma of exotic flowers and spices. You can feel the warmth of the sun streaming through the open windows, illuminating shelves lined with intricately designed alabaster jars, each filled with concoctions intended to delight the senses. The art of perfume making was not merely a luxury, it was a cherished obsession among the nobility, a way to express their wealth and refinement. Yet, as you inhale the sweet fragrances wafting around you, it becomes increasingly clear that the glamorous image of these exquisite scents masks a shocking and often toxic reality. The beautiful allure of perfumes composed of delicate fragrances like myrrh, frankincense, and lotus was highly sought after. Nobles believed that these scents not only enhanced their personal appeal but also served as a connection to the divine. However, the process of creating these delightful fragrances was fraught with disturbing practices. Many perfumes were mixed using ingredients that could be potentially harmful or even deadly. Some concoctions contained toxic substances intended to enhance the scent, leaving a bitter irony in their wake. Beauty often came at a price. Imagine a noblewoman carefully selecting the finest essences, blending and grinding ingredients with the skill of a master artist. Yet, you can't help but wonder about the hidden dangers lurking within those fragrant mixtures. Ingredients like lead and other metals were sometimes included to create richer scents, despite their known toxicity. This tragic juxtaposition reveals a society willing to risk health for the sake of beauty and status. The very scents that adorned the bodies of the elite could also be the cause of illness or discomfort, a bitter twist that hardly fits the romanticized idea of ancient luxury. The ancient Egyptians believed in the purifying properties of scents, associating them with the gods. This belief system allowed for the acceptance of toxic elements, as the allure of divine connection outweighed the potential health risks. The nobility's quest for beauty and refinement was intertwined with a worldview that prioritized aesthetics above all else, promoting a culture where the ends justified the means even if those means were, quite literally, poisoning themselves. As you ponder this, the elegance of the perfumes takes on a new dimension, transforming from mere indulgence to a symbol of the lengths to which the elite would go to maintain their image. The captivating fragrances were, in essence, a mask guiding not just the scent of sweat or decay, but also the moral implications of their creation. The contrast between the enchanting allure and the hidden dangers creates a rich tapestry of human experience, shedding light on the complexities of status and the sacrifices made to achieve it. While the world of perfume making is undeniably fascinating, it is only one part of the intricate lifestyle of the ancient elite. From here, we will move into the realm of exotic pets, where the lavish pursuits of the nobility take on another form of opulence. The next section will reveal how keeping exotic animals not only symbolized status but also unearths the unsettling truths about captivity and control. Exotic pets, symbols of status and power. Imagine strolling through the lush gardens of an ancient Egyptian palace, the sun spilling golden light over manicured hedges and vibrant blooms. You hear soft growls and chirps, the rustle of leaves signaling the presence of exotic animals, leopards lounging in the shade, monkeys chattering from their perches, and colorful birds flitting about. For the elite, the ownership of such extraordinary creatures was not only a display of wealth but also a powerful symbol of their status in society. Yet, beneath this glamorous Fade lies a jarring contrast, the harsh realities of captivity and the ethical implications of such possession. The allure of exotic pets captivated the imagination of ancient Egyptian nobility. Owning a leopard or a rare bird was akin to flaunting one's power over nature itself. These animals served as living trophies, demonstrating dominance and sophistication. The nobility paraded their exotic pets at grand events, capturing the admiration of onlookers. Can you envision a noblewoman draped in silk, her arm adorned with an ornate gold bracelet, as she nonchalantly commands a beautifully feathered parrot to perch on her shoulder? It paints a picture of grandeur and elegance, yet it conceals darker truths. The glamorous image of these exotic animals often belies the cruel conditions of their captivity. The journey of these creatures from their natural habitats to the luxurious confines of a palace was fraught with suffering. Many were captured through brutal methods, which involve separating them from their families and forcing them into a life of servitude. Imagine the wild leopard, once a fierce predator roaming the vast African savanna, now confined to a small enclosure, its instincts dulled and spirit crushed. This dark reality contrasts sharply with the image of the nobleman strolling proudly with his regal companion, an emblem of his supremacy. The ancient Egyptians, much like modern societies, held a belief in the superiority of the elite over the natural world. The idea that the nobility could possess and control these magnificent creatures reinforced their societal status. This mindset allowed for the justification of such practices. The exotic animals were seen as mere possessions, valuable commodities that reflected wealth and power rather than sentient beings deserving of respect. The dissonance between revering these animals as symbols of divine connection while subjecting them to lives of confinement serves as a poignant reminder of the cost or privilege. As you reflect on the lives of these exotic pets, consider how they symbolize the complexities of the elite's relationship with nature. The stunning beauty of a leaping leopard or a singing canary becomes intertwined with the harsh truth of their captivity, creating a dual narrative of admiration and ethical dilemma. The ancient Egyptians' pursuit of status and power often came at the expense of the creatures they cherished, revealing a deep contradiction in their worldview. But the stories of ancient nobility don't end here. With the exotic pets and their stunning habitats, we will transition into the intellectual pursuits of the elite. In our next section, we will explore the world of hieroglyphic puzzles and word games that captivated the minds of the ancient Egyptian nobility, revealing the complexity behind their seemingly simple pastimes, while exposing an unexpected side of their intellectual lives. Hieroglyphs and puzzles, intellectual pursuits. Close your eyes, and envision yourself in a sunlit chamber of an ancient Egyptian palace, surrounded by lavish decorations and the sound of papyrus rustling. The walls are adorned with intricate hieroglyphs, telling stories of gods and pharaohs, while the air is filled with anticipation as noblemen gather to engage in a favorite pastime, word games and hieroglyphic puzzles. The intellectual allure of these activities reflects the nobility's fascination with language and storytelling. Yet, as you delve deeper into their games, an unsettling truth emerges, contrasting the glorified image of intellectual prowess with the bizarre and sometimes absurd interpretations that arose from their pursuits. Imagine the scene: a group of aristocrats, draped in fine linen, seated around a beautifully crafted wooden table. They passionately debate the meaning of a particular hieroglyph, each vying to showcase their knowledge and wit. This engaging atmosphere reflects a society that valued intellect and education, where the ability to decipher complex symbols was seen as a mark of sophistication. However, the reality of these pursuits often involved peculiar interpretations and outlandish games that would baffle the modern mind. The art of creating hieroglyphic word puzzles was an elite pastime, and while it may seem innocent, the results could be quite peculiar. Noblemen often engaged in crafting riddles and playing with language, sometimes leading to interpretations that strayed far from their intended meanings. You can almost hear the laughter echoing off the walls as a nobleman proudly presents a riddle involving a lion, only for his companions to bumble through absurd conclusions that have little to do with the original intent. These playful misinterpretations highlight a fascinating contradiction. While the nobility sought to elevate their social status through intellectual pursuits, they also engaged in activities that often devolved into comedic absurdity. In a society that revered wisdom, such games also served to reinforce social hierarchies. The ability to cleverly navigate these puzzles was a status symbol in itself, showcasing not just intelligence but also the leisure time to engage in such activities. However, the fact that these pursuits sometimes bordered on the ridiculous reveals a deeper truth about the elite's relationship with knowledge. Their intellectual games, while entertaining, often lacked the rigor and seriousness associated with true scholarship. This contrast raises intriguing questions about the nature of knowledge in a society obsessed with status. As you reflect on this, the duality of their intellectual pursuits becomes evident. The nobles, while engaging in these hieroglyphic games, were not just expressing their wit, they were reinforcing a culture that valued appearance over substance. The glamorous fade of the learned elite often concealed a world where absurdity could thrive, where the pursuit of knowledge was sometimes overshadowed by the desire to amuse. It creates a vivid picture of a society that balanced the sophisticated with the silly, inviting you to consider the complexity of their intellectual lives. But the whimsical world of hieroglyphs is only part of the tapestry of ancient Egyptian culture. As we venture into our next section, we will uncover the extravagant banquet feasts that characterized noble life. These grand celebrations were not just about opulence, but also reveal unsettling truths about waste and the excesses of the elite. The ritual of banquet feasts, opulence viz. Waste. You find yourself at the grand entrance of a sprawling banquet hall in ancient Egypt, a place where the air is thick with the rich aromas of roasted meats and spiced delicacies. The soft flicker of oil lamps casts a warm glow over the lavish table, adorned with an array of foods that would make even the most discerning palate swoon. Nobles, dressed in their finest attire, gather to celebrate, laughter and music filling this space as they indulge in a feast that reflects their power and wealth. Yet, as you take in the opulence surrounding you, a shocking reality lurks beneath the surface. The extravagant waste generated by these lavish celebrations starkly contrasts with the beauty and grandeur on display. Picture the scene: elegantly decorated platters overflowing with food, each more extravagant than the last, displaying the finest offerings of the Nile. There are succulent birds, freshly caught fish, ripe fruits and elaborate pastries, all laid out in a display of excess meant to dazzle the guests. Yet, as the festivities unfold, it's impossible to ignore the staggering amount of food that goes uneaten, discarded among the remnants of the night's revelry. The lavish banquets, while showcasing the nobility's wealth, also highlight a disturbing truth about the culture of waste that accompanied such grandeur. The ancient Egyptians took great pride in their culinary artistry, believing that a bountiful feast was a reflection of their social status. But this festive spirit came at a cost. The sheer volume of food prepared for these events resulted in significant waste, a reality that seems almost unfathomable in a world where resources were not as readily available as they are today. The noble guests, consumed by their pursuits of pleasure, often left mountains of uneaten food to rot, disregarding the hard work of the farmers and laborers who had cultivated the very ingredients that adorned their tables. This shocking reality raises questions about the nobility's relationship with the common populace. In a society that depended on the labor of the lower classes, the excesses of the elite served to reinforce the divide between the haves and have-nots. The banquet, while a time of celebration for the nobles, was a stark reminder of the disparity that existed within the social hierarchy. The opulence displayed in their feasts was a form of power, a way to assert their superiority and dominance over those who toiled to produce their luxurious meals. Moreover, the inherent wastefulness of these banquets can be seen as a reflection of the elite's worldview. In their pursuit of magnificence, the ancient nobility prioritized their image and pleasure above ethical considerations. Their lavish celebrations illustrated a culture that valued appearances over responsibility, where the sight of overflowing platters was more important than the impact of their feasting on the broader community. The disconnect between their indulgence and the realities of food scarcity for many was palpable, creating a poignant contrast that resonates even today. As you contemplate this juxtaposition of luxury and waste, you begin to understand the complexities of the ancient Egyptian nobility's way of life. While their feasts were grand affairs, filled with laughter and joy, they were also marred by the unsettling truth of excess and disregard for the consequences of their actions. This exploration of excess leads us seamlessly into the next section, where we will delve into the fascinating and morbid world of mummification, a rite that not only reflects the nobility's obsession with immortality but also unveils the unsettling truths behind this elaborate process. Mummification, the ultimate hobby for eternity. Imagine yourself standing in a dimly lit chamber of an ancient Egyptian tomb, the walls adorned with vibrant frescoes depicting scenes of the afterlife. The air is heavy with the scent of myrrh and resin, mingling with the faint whispers of history. Before you lies the elaborate process of mummification, a meticulous ritual that showcases the nobility's obsession with immortality. While this practice is often romanticized in tales of pharaohs and eternal life, the shocking realities of mummification reveal a darker side that starkly contrasts with the grandeur of its ceremonial fade. Picture the scene: skilled embalmers, their faces obscured by linen masks, work diligently over the body of a noble. Every movement is precise, every incision deliberate. The process, intended to preserve the deceased for eternity, involves removing the internal organs, which are then treated and placed in canopic jars, each one a miniature work of art. This practice highlights the belief that life continued after death, and that the body needed to be protected for the soul's journey. However, the ritualistic nature of mummification often masked the gruesome realities of the process itself. As you delve deeper, you discover the unsettling truth behind the mummification process. It was not only a labor-intensive endeavor but also involved some rather unpleasant practices. The removal of organs, including the brain, a common misconception, as the heart was often left in place, was a necessary step in the preservation process. However, the methods used were sometimes crude, involving tools that could cause significant damage. You can almost imagine the grim determination of the embalmers as they undertook this task, balancing the reverence for the dead with the gruesome nature of their trade. The ancient Egyptians believed that a well-preserved body was essential for a successful afterlife, yet the methods to achieve this often bordered on the macabre. Natural desiccants, like natron, were used to dry out the body, while the aromatic resins and oils used in the embalming process could mask the less pleasant aspects of decay. This juxtaposition of beauty and grotesqueness is indicative of the nobility's desire to attain a form of eternal life that often involved confronting the raw realities of mortality. Furthermore, the obsession with mummification also speaks to the societal beliefs surrounding death and the afterlife. The elite's fixation on preserving their physical forms reflects a worldview that placed immense value on status, not just in life, but in death. Mummification was a privilege reserved for the wealthy, a final act of grandeur that reinforced their exalted social standing. This practice not only served as a means to ensure immortality, but also acted as a reminder of the divide between the elite and the common people, who often lacked the resources to secure such elaborate burials. As you ponder the complexities of mummification, you begin to see it as more than just a funeral rite. It becomes a poignant symbol of the ancient Egyptians' relationship with death and the lengths to which they would go to maintain their status. The elegance of the mummified form, which stood as a testament to wealth and power, coexists uncomfortably with the grim realities of the embalming process, a reflection of the duality of existence itself. With this exploration of mummification, we now transition to the world of jewelry making, where the exquisite adornments of the elite reveal a striking contrast between beauty and the often harsh conditions under which these treasures were crafted. The next section will unveil the dazzling world of ancient Egyptian jewelry, illuminating the craftsmanship and the darker truths behind the labor that brought these stunning pieces to life. Jewelry making, craftsmanship and suffering. Welcome back to the opulent halls of ancient Egypt, where every adornment tells a story of wealth, power, and artistry. Imagine walking through a bustling workshop, filled with the sound of metal tools clinking against precious stones. The air is alive with the hum of skilled artisans crafting exquisite jewelry, necklaces of gold, intricate bracelets, and delicate earrings that shimmer in the sunlight. For the elite, such adornments were not merely decorative, they were symbols of status and divine favor. Yet, beneath the surface of this glittering world lies a troubling reality. The craftsmanship that produced these stunning pieces was often born from suffering and exploitation. In this moment, as you admire the beauty of a statement necklace, you must also consider the harsh conditions faced by the artisans who created such masterpieces. The ancient Egyptians excelled in jewelry making, skillfully combining gold, lapis lazuli, turquoise, and other precious materials to create stunning pieces that adorned the bodies of the wealthy. However, this artistry came at a steep price. Many of these artisans were part of a labor class, working under grueling conditions with little regard for their well-being. You can almost feel the tension in the air as they toil away, their fingers calloused from hours of intricate work, their backs bent under the weight of their labor. While the nobility basked in the glow of their lavish adornments, the artisans' struggles often went unnoticed. The beautiful jewelry worn during grand celebrations and daily life symbolized the elite status, but the harsh realities of the labor behind these creations were rarely acknowledged. The workers who shaped and polished each piece often faced long hours, dangerous tools, and inadequate safety measures. As you contemplate the dazzling jewels, the contrast becomes painfully clear. The beauty that graces the necks and wrists of the powerful is often intertwined with the suffering of those who crafted it. This trade of opulence versus hardship reflects the broader societal structure of ancient Egypt, where the elite thrived on the backs of laborers. The nobility's relationship with jewelry was steeped in a belief that the beauty of adornments could elevate their status in both life and the afterlife. Gold, considered a divine metal, was believed to be a bridge to the gods, and wearing such jewelry was a way to assert one's connection to the divine. However, this spiritual significance does not absolve the exploitation inherent in its creation. The irony of adorning oneself with symbols of divinity while ignoring the suffering of the artisans is a poignant reminder of the complexities of privilege. As you reflect on this duality of craftsmanship and suffering, you begin to grasp the intricate relationships that defined ancient Egyptian society. The jewelry that adorned the elite served as a reminder of their divine favor, but it also concealed the darker truths of labor conditions that sustained that magnificence. The dazzling allure of these adornments invites you to consider the sacrifices made to achieve such beauty, revealing a more profound narrative woven into the fabric of their culture. As we leave behind the world of ornaments, we will now step into the realm of games and leisure, specifically focusing on the ancient board game of senet. This pastime, popular among the nobility, offers insights into their values, competition, and the social dynamics of ancient Egyptian life, while also exposing the hidden complexities often overlooked in such seemingly simple pursuits. The game of senet. Noble gambles. Picture yourself in an elegantly furnished chamber of an ancient Egyptian palace, where the soft glow of oil lamps casts dancing shadows over a beautifully crafted board adorned with hieroglyphs. Gathered around it are several nobles, laughter and friendly banter filling the air as they prepare for a game of senet, one of the oldest known board games in history. This game, played for both leisure and competition, serves as a window into the social dynamics of the elite. However, as you observe the excitement of the players, a deeper and somewhat unsettling truth emerges about the nature of their bets and the risks they were willing to take. Senet is more than just a game. It is a complex tapestry of strategy, chance, and social interaction. As the pieces move across the board, the nobles share stories and engage in playful rivalry. The game reflects the competitive spirit of the elite, where each move is not just a strategy, but also a demonstration of wit and status. The winner, basking in the glory of victory, enjoys not only the admiration of peers, but also the tangible rewards that accompany success. Yet, this seemingly innocent competition can quickly reveal a darker side, as the stakes of these games often extend beyond mere bragging rights. Imagine the tension brewing as bets are placed, gold, land, and even the promise of servitude hanging in the balance. The allure of winning is intoxicating, yet the potential for loss casts a shadow over the game. For many nobles, the thrill of the gamble can lead to reckless decisions, revealing a dangerous obsession with status and success. You can almost feel the anxiety in the air as players clutch their dice, the outcome of each roll holding implications that could alter their social standing. The seemingly light-hearted game becomes a high-stakes arena, where fortunes can be won or lost in an instant. This culture of gambling reflects the ancient Egyptians' complex relationship with risk and reward, where the desire for social ascension often took precedence over ethical considerations. The thrill of senet was intoxicating, yet it often blurred the lines between fair play and manipulation. The competitive nature of the nobility, combined with the potential for significant losses, created an environment where the quest for status could lead to desperation. This dynamic raises questions about the values prioritized by the elite, revealing a society deeply entrenched in a hierarchy that placed immense importance on perception and reputation. As you contemplate the game of senet, you begin to see it as a mirror, reflecting the aspirations, fears, and moral dilemmas of the ancient Egyptian nobility. The colors and designs of the game board, vibrant and alluring, conceal the complexities of a society driven by competition and the relentless pursuit of power. The joy of winning is often coupled with the potential for devastation, illustrating the highs and lows of noble life where every victory can be overshadowed by the ever-looming risk of loss. With this glimpse into the world of senet, we now prepare to step into the physical realm of competition, where the elite engaged in athletic contests that showcased their strength and prowess. The next section will explore the sports and physical competitions that not only served as entertainment but also highlighted the risks and injuries that often accompanied such displays of skill. Sports and physical competitions, strength and status. As you enter a bustling arena bathed in sunlight, the excitement is palpable. Nobles clad in colorful linen tunics gather to watch the spectacle unfold before them, a display of athletic prowess that captivates the elite of ancient Egypt. The cheers of the crowd echo around you as athletes prepare to compete in a series of physical contests, from wrestling to race running, showcasing the best of their abilities. While these events exude glamour and prestige, the hidden realities of such competitions reveal a stark contrast, one that juxtaposes the nobility's thirst for entertainment with the risks of injury and the pressures of performance. Imagine the scene. The air is thick with anticipation as competitors take their positions, muscles taut and hearts racing. The excitement of the crowd swells as they cheer on their favorites, their applause resonating as a testament to the status these athletes can attain. Victories in such contests could lead not only to acclaim but also to material rewards, further solidifying the athletes' positions within the elite. Yet, as you soak in the energy of the competition, you can't help but notice the dark underbelly of this pursuit, the physical toll that these rigorous contests exact on the participants. The sport of wrestling, a favored event among the nobility, often resulted in injuries that could be quite severe. Competitors grappled fiercely, pushing their bodies to the limit in a display of strength and skill. While the victor basked in glory, the losers faced not only the shame of defeat, but also the risk of serious injury or even long-term repercussions. Picture a wrestler, muscles straining, as he attempts to outmaneuver his opponent, the risk of dislocation or fracture looming with each aggressive move. The glamorous image of athleticism is tinged with the sobering reality of pain and injury, a stark reminder that the pursuit of glory can come at a significant cost. The ancient Egyptians revered physical strength and athletic ability, viewing them as essential attributes of a noble leader. However, this idealization often led to an unhealthy emphasis on competition, where the pressures to perform could push athletes beyond their limits. In a society that celebrated valor and strength, the fear of failure weighed heavily on competitors, creating an environment where the desire for acclaim could overshadow concerns for personal safety. The thrill of victory, while exhilarating, was always shadowed by the peril of defeat and injury. As you reflect on the dynamics of these competitions, it becomes clear that the desire for status and recognition drove the nobility to engage in risky behaviors. The spectacle of sport was not just a form of entertainment, it was a means of asserting dominance and showcasing one's worth. This pursuit of glory often came at the expense of the athlete's well-being, illustrating the harsh realities of a society that valued appearances over the individuals who succumbed to the pressures of competition. With the echoes of cheers and the scent of sweat still lingering, we now transition from the arena of physical competitions to the melodic world of music, a realm where sound and performance played a significant role in the lives of the elite. In our next section, we will explore the music that filled the lives of ancient Egyptians, revealing the enchanting artistry while also confronting the often rough conditions faced by musicians who created these beautiful sounds. The role of music, harmonious illusions. Imagine yourself seated in a lavishly decorated courtyard of an ancient Egyptian palace, the vibrant colors of the tapestries surrounding you dancing in the sunlight. The air is alive with the sweet sounds of music, as a group of musicians performs for an audience of nobles, their fingers deftly plucking at the strings of lyres and strumming lutes. Laughter and applause fill the space, creating a sense of enchantment that encapsulates the luxurious lifestyle of the elite. Yet, as you absorb the beauty of the performance, a stark contrast begins to emerge, a hidden truth about the often difficult realities faced by the very musicians who create this harmonious illusion. The melodies that waft through the courtyard paint a picture of a society steeped in culture and artistic expression. Music was a revered form of entertainment for the nobility, a symbol of wealth and sophistication. The performances were not merely standalone events, they were interwoven with the fabric of festive gatherings, religious ceremonies and grand celebrations. The rich harmonies and rhythms infused the lives of the elite with allure, but as you look closer, you unveil a complex narrative of those who dedicated their lives to this craft. Behind the scenes of these polished performances lies a world that is far less glamorous. While nobles reveled in the enchanting sounds, many musicians often lived on the fringes of society, their talents exploited for the entertainment of the wealthy. Picture the musician, tirelessly practicing under the sweltering sun, his fingers calloused from endless hours of rehearsing melodies that would never belong to him. For many, the life of a musician was filled with uncertainty and hardship, where their artistic expression served as a means of survival rather than a source of joy. The conditions under which these musicians worked were often harsh. They faced long hours of labor, often with little recognition or compensation for their talents. While the nobles basked in the luxury of music, the performers themselves struggled to make ends meet, their lives overshadowed by the demands of the elite. In a society that celebrated beauty and artistry, the reality of the musicians' experiences often went unnoticed, as the focus remained squarely on the performances rather than the individuals behind them. This stark contrast reveals the duality present in the musical world of ancient Egypt. While music served as a source of joy and opulence for the elite, it also highlighted the exploitation and struggles of those who created it. The nobles' appreciation for music masked the complexities of their relationship with the musicians, who were often viewed as mere instruments of entertainment rather than individuals with their unique stories. As you reflect on the melodies that float through the air, consider how they embody the aspirations and challenges of a society filled with contradictions. The rich sounds of the lyres and flutes become a metaphor for the dichotomy present in the lives of the ancient Egyptians, highlighting the dissonance between the beauty appreciated by the elite and the struggles faced by those who brought such art to life. Transitioning from the world of music, we will now step into the lush landscape of ancient Egyptian gardens, where the nobility indulged in the art of gardening, a pursuit that showcases beauty while revealing the often unseen labor that sustains it. In our next section, we will explore this verdant realm, uncovering the complexities of gardening as both a symbol of status and a reflection of the hard work that went into maintaining these opulent spaces. Gardening as an art form, beauty with a cost. Envision yourself strolling through the expansive gardens of an ancient Egyptian palace, where the vivid colors of blooming flowers and the lush greenery create a picturesque paradise. You can hear the gentle trickle of water from ornate fountains as sunlight casts dappled shadows across the paths. The air is fragrant with the smell of jasmine and lotus, enveloping you in a sensory delight that speaks of nobility and refinement. Yet, as you meander through this verdant oasis, it becomes essential to peel back the layers and confront a stark contrast. The beauty of these gardens often belies the relentless labor and harsh realities faced by those who tended to them. In the world of ancient Egypt, gardening was considered a prestigious art form, a pursuit that reflected the wealth and status of the elite. The nobility took immense pride in their gardens, which served as both a refuge and a status symbol. Picture the noblewoman, resplendent in her flowing linen gown, as she admires her carefully curated selection of flora, boasting rare plants imported from distant lands. The gardens were often designed with intricate layouts, incorporating geometric patterns that showcased the owner's wealth and taste. However, the creation and maintenance of such beauty were not without significant costs. Behind the enchanting facade of these gardens lies a workforce of laborers, who toiled tirelessly under the sun, often without recognition for their efforts. The process of cultivating exotic plants involved grueling labor, from digging irrigation channels to planting and maintaining the flora that adorned the grand estates. Imagine the sweat pouring down the brows of gardeners as they laboriously prune and tend to the plants, their hands worn and rough from manual work. The aristocratic love for beauty comes at a price, strenuous labor of those who are rarely acknowledged. Moreover, the sustainability of these lush gardens was deeply intertwined with the ecological realities of ancient Egypt. The Nile River provided essential irrigation, yet the demands placed on the land often led to exploitation of resources. The visual splendor of the gardens masked the environmental costs associated with their upkeep, raising questions about sustainability and the nobility's relationship with nature. This disconnect between the elite's desire for beauty and these environmental implications of maintaining it reveals the complexities of their worldview, where aesthetics often overshadowed responsibility. As you contemplate the intricate balance between beauty and toil, it becomes clear that gardening served as both an expression of wealth and a reflection of societal structures. The nobility's flourishing gardens, while appearing idyllic, were underpinned by the harsh realities faced by those who made them possible. The vibrant blooms of the garden encapsulate the duality of existence in ancient Egypt, where beauty and elegance often coexisted with suffering and labor. With the lush imagery of the garden still vivid in your mind, we will now transition into the extravagant world of fashion among the ancient elite. In our next section, we will explore the lavish fashions worn by the nobility, highlighting the stunning garments while also confronting the uncomfortable truths regarding the materials and labor that brought these exquisite pieces to life. Fashion trends, clothes of the elite. Imagine yourself stepping into a grand hall of an ancient Egyptian palace, where the air is alive with the vibrant colors and textures of luxurious fabric. The walls are adorned with intricate carvings, and you can almost hear the soft rustle of fine linen and silk as elegantly dressed nobles glide through the space. Ornate jewelry sparkles in the light, complementing the stunning garments that drape gracefully on their bodies. Fashion among the elite was not merely a means of self-expression, it was a carefully curated display of wealth and status. However, beneath this dazzling exterior lies a more troubling truth about the uncomfortable realities involved in the production of such exquisite attire. The nobility took immense pride in their clothing, often wearing garments made from the finest linens, dyed with vibrant hues extracted from natural sources. Picture a nobleman adorned in a flowing white kilt, its pristine fabric accentuated by intricate patterns and embellishments that signal his high rank. Alternatively, envision a noblewoman draped in layers of colorful linen, her attire accentuated with gold thread and adorned with precious stones. The beauty of these outfits not only conferred social standing but also reflected the wealth and resources available to the wearer. Yet, as you admire this opulence, you must confront the hidden realities of the garment industry that sustained such fashion. The creation of these luxurious textiles was not without its dark side. The process of fabric production involved backbreaking labor, often performed by skilled artisans and workers who were seldom recognized for their contributions. Imagine the weavers, their hands deftly manipulating the loom as they create stunning fabrics, their bodies weary from the ceaseless labor. While the nobles flaunted their exquisite garments, the individuals behind the scenes toiling away in workshops and homes faced harsh conditions and minimal compensation for their efforts. The contrast between the beauty worn by the elite and the struggles of those who created it is stark and deeply unsettling. Moreover, the materials used in ancient Egyptian fashion raise ethical questions about sourcing and consumption. The dyes that brought colors to life often came from plants or minerals that required extensive cultivation and resource management. The demand for vibrant textiles led to overexploitation of natural resources, resulting in environmental consequences that echoed throughout the landscape. While the garments dazzled the eyes of onlookers, the environmental toll of their production serves as a sobering reminder of the responsibilities that accompany luxury. This duality encapsulates the essence of ancient Egyptian fashion, a world where beauty and elegance coexist with the harsh realities of labor and environmental degradation. The stunning designs and luxurious materials worn by the nobility tell a story of status and supremacy, yet they are interwoven with the sacrifices of those who worked tirelessly to bring these fashions to life. The allure of clothing is often accompanied by the cost of labor, a truth that echoes through the ages. As we leave the opulent halls of fashion, we will now explore the spiritual practices of the ancient Egyptians, where rituals and beliefs intertwined with their search for meaning. In our next section, we will investigate the complex world of religious ceremonies and spiritual beliefs that shaped the lives of the nobility, highlighting the juxtaposition between the sacred and the unsettling truths that often accompanied their rituals. Spiritual practices, rituals and hidden truths in the heart of ancient Egypt. Amidst the towering temples and colossal statues of gods, you find yourself immersed in a world of profound spirituality. Picture a grand temple adorned with intricate hieroglyphics and vibrant murals, the air thick with the scent of incense as priests and nobles gather for a sacred ceremony. The sun casts a warm glow over the scene, illuminating the ornate altars where offerings are laid, each item a testament to the reverence felt by the ancient Egyptians. Spirituality permeated every aspect of life, especially among the elite, who believed that their rituals could ensure favor from the gods. Yet, as you witness these solemn observances, a darker reality begins to emerge that juxtaposes the divine with the disturbing practices often hidden beneath the surface. The elaborate rituals performed by the elite were designed to both honor the gods and secure their favor for prosperity and protection. Picture the high priest, draped in fine linen, reciting prayers and making offerings of food, wine, and incense. These acts were not just expressions of devotion, they were vital components of a complex belief system that intertwined their existence with the divine. However, beneath the beauty of these ceremonies lies the unsettling truth about the often grisly nature of some rituals that accompanied them. Animal sacrifices were a common practice in ancient Egyptian religion, intended to appease the gods and ensure their blessings. Imagine the tension in the air as nobles observe the sacrificial rites, the sight of a goat or a bull being offered as a tribute. While this act was believed to be a demonstration of piety, it also highlights the intersection of faith and violence, a contrast that challenges the idyllic portrayal of spirituality. The nobles, while engaging in these sacred practices, were often blind to the suffering of the animals, viewing them more as instruments for securing divine favor than as living beings deserving of compassion. Furthermore, the belief in the afterlife played a crucial role in shaping the spiritual practices of the elite. The ancient Egyptians devoted significant resources to ensure a successful journey into the afterlife, often commissioning elaborate tombs and funerary items. This obsession with immortality reflects a worldview where status continued beyond death, yet it can also be seen as a means of asserting control over the natural cycle of life and death. The lavish expenditures on funerary rites underscore the lengths to which the nobility would go to secure their legacy, often ignoring the more profound implications of their beliefs. This duality of spirituality where devotion intertwines with the haunting realities of sacrifice reveals the complexities of ancient Egyptian beliefs. The rituals, while intended to invoke beauty and reverence, often contained elements that challenge our understanding of morality and compassion. The juxtaposition of the divine with the disturbing acts performed in the name of faith creates a rich tapestry of human experience, inviting contemplation of the relationship between belief and behavior. As we step away from the sacred rites of spirituality, we will now reflect on the enduring legacy that the ancient Egyptian nobility sought to secure. In our final section, we will explore how these elites endeavored to create lasting memories of their lives and achievements, revealing both the stunning beauty of their legacies and the uncomfortable truths that often accompany the pursuit of immortality. Legacy and memory, the final pursuit as you stand before the imposing pyramids that rise majestically from the desert sands, their stones whisper tales of ambition and eternity. Picture the ancient Egyptian nobility, their faces illuminated by the golden light of the setting sun, as they finalize plans for their grand tombs and monuments. These structures, monumental in scale, were not merely repositories for the dead, they were the ultimate expressions of power and a fervent desire for immortality. The pursuit of legacy consumed the elite, who believed that their achievements would be forever etched into history. However, as you contemplate these grand designs, a sobering reality emerges. The legacy they sought often overshadowed uncomfortable truths about their lives and the sacrifices made to establish their status. The pyramids and elaborate tombs serve as testaments to the pharaohs and nobles who dedicated their lives to securing a place in the afterlife. The elaborate burial practices, coupled with the painstaking efforts to ensure eternal remembrance, reveal a society that revered legacy above all else. Imagine the hundreds of laborers toiling under the hot sun, hauling massive stones and chiseling hieroglyphics that tell the stories of their rulers. While the nobles may have envisioned themselves as gods among mortals, the reality of their legacies was built on the sweat and sacrifice of those who labored in their name. But this desire for immortality often came with a heavy price. The resources allocated to monumental projects drained the wealth of the nation, diverting attention from the needs of the common populace. While the elite buried their treasures and luxuries with them, the disparities between their opulence and the realities faced by the laborers further deepened societal divides. The pursuit of legacy, marked by the construction of grand tombs, became a stark reminder of the sacrifices made by the many for the glory of the few. In their quest for eternal remembrance, the nobility often disregarded the impact of their aspirations on the lives of those who served them. Moreover, the obsession with legacy raises ethical questions about the nature of remembrance itself. The ancient Egyptians believed that the preservation of the body through mummification and the construction of tombs ensured an eternal existence in the afterlife. Yet, the very rituals that aimed to secure immortality could also be seen as a desperate attempt to control the narrative of their lives. The glorified image of the elite, immortalized in hieroglyphics and monumental architecture, often obscured the reality of their actions during life and the oppressive structures of power that allowed them to ascend to such heights. As you reflect on the legacies of these ancient nobles, you begin to understand the complexities of their pursuit. The stunning pyramids and richly adorned tombs stand as powerful symbols of their desire for immortality, yet they are also emblematic of the contradictions inherent in their lives. The legacies they sought to create were often built upon the labor and sacrifices of others, revealing the intricate interplay between power, memory, and morality. With the grandeur of the past echoing in your thoughts, you now come to the end of our journey through the fascinating and often unsettling world of ancient Egyptian nobility. As you allow these reflections to settle, remember that the allure of beauty, status, and legacy is often intertwined with hidden truths that challenge our understanding of history and humanity.